What's up, guys? Polar here again, and we've got our first of the next two legends. This is going to be the Texas Rangers versus the Seattle Mariners, and we've got catcher Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. Now, Pudge is also a 99 overall from his 1999 MVP winning season. Now, again, MVPs in my brain should be 99 overall, but his stats are a little bit less juiced than Henderson's because people thought, Henderson was a little bit out there. But I tried to keep it, as close as I could. And I did want to show you that I actually went in and I made his catcher's gear. Now I did, at least, as accurate as I possibly could. I forgot to change that to team color too. But this is what Pudge wore for the majority of his career. Wilson everything and all red. So we'll do that. We'll have that now. But now let's get into his attributes because that's what you guys really want to see. So, of course, potential is 99. We've got 91 contact right, 88 contact left. So Pudge had 333 batting average versus righties and a 325 batting average versus lefties. I thought that was fairly accurate for Pudge Rodriguez, to do 91 and 88. For a guy that batted 332 over the full year, he's going to have around 90 contact average out. Power versus right at 79, power left at 66. He hit 35 home runs that year with 113 RBIs. He had 29 of those homers and 93 of those RBIs from the right-handed side of the plate, and 6 homers and 20 RBIs from the left-handed side of the plate. He only faced lefties in 57 games, so it's a small sample size, but his slugging percentage was .509 with an 875 OPS on the left-handed side, so it's not like he didn't have power. But it is interesting that he is a reverse split guy doing better against righties than he did against lefties. Bunting ability doesn't matter. Plate vision. Pudge only struck out 64 times in 630 plate appearances. That's about 10%, 10.2 or something to that effect, strikeout percentage, which is really, really good. And I thought I'd reflect that with 94 plate vision. Plate discipline, he only took 24 walks, so not very good. He had a tendency not to wait on counts and stuff, but, not every player can be perfect. Batting clutch with runners in scoring position, Pudge was a .305 batter with 10 home runs, 79 RBIs, 543 slugging percentage, 889 OPS, and a 346 OBP. Good, not great. Figured, we would reflect that. As far as durability, he got an 88. He played in 144 games. Fairly accurate. Speed was at 64, and the reason being is that Pudge actually had 25 stolen bases that year. So we gave him 64 speed, 62 stealing, and 82 base running aggressiveness. Thought was fairly accurate. Now, as far as defensive catcher stats, that's where Pudge shines. You get 99 arm strength, 95 arm accuracy, 85 reactions, 88 fielding ability, 91 blocking. Pudge threw out 50% of the people who tried to steal bases on him that year, and I thought I would reflect that. This is also his batting stance, by the way. It was in the game, so I figured we would use it. So that is Pudge Rodriguez, and now you guys can take a wild guess as to who you think the Mariners legend. If you didn't guess it already, the Mariners legend is the Kid, Jr., Ken Griffey Jr., sitting at 6'3", 195 pounds. There really wasn't another option for the Mariners. He's not in the game, and it's kind of a travesty that he isn't. And he's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this in the first place. Now we are looking at his 1997 MVP winning season. So he is a 99. He would have been a 99 in many, many years that he played. You can't have the stats that Ken Griffey Jr. had and not be 99 overall. Now, let's get a look into the attributes. We've got his textbook batting stance there. We got 92 contact right, 78 contact left. Makes sense. He was a .320 batter against right-handed pitching and a .320 and .270 batter versus left-handed pitching. So it's fairly accurate. I would say, for Ken Griffey. He wasn't brilliant against lefties, but, you know, he got the job done. Power right versus power left at 99 and 83. He had 42 home runs, 108 RBIs, and a .699 slugging percentage with a 1.104 OPS versus right-handed pitching. That's insane. If you did that versus both sides of the plate, you know, you'd be considered an MVP candidate. But just the fact that he did it versus righties, and this is not even including his left-handed stats, you know, for volume stats at least, is insane. Now, for left-handed pitching, he faced lefties in 100 games, so it's far more than Pudge did. And he had 14 home runs and 39 RBIs with a .536 slugging percentage and 868 OPS. So not good. You know, not great, but it's Griffey. He does have the power there. He just didn't have, you know, the volume stats. He did have 8 doubles as well as a triple. He brought in 28 runs. You know, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. So he bumped the power down a little bit, but he's gonna have some power because it's just inherently there. Bunting ability does not really matter. Plate vision, we got 73 for Griffey. He struck out 121 times in 704 plate appearances. Not very good. About league average, I would say. As far as plate discipline, he did take 76 walks in those 704 plate appearances, which is very good. Now, the real big one here is batting clutch. With runners in scoring position, Ken Griffey was a .336 batter with a .420 on base percentage, .671 slugging, and a 1.091 OPS. He had 12 home runs and 85 RBIs. It's pretty good. You know, that's really good, actually. So we gave him 97 batting clutch. As far as durability, he played in, how many games? He played in, if I can get back to my stats here, he played in 157 out of 162 games. That's, you know, using rest days. There's no DL stint there. So Griffey gets 97 durability. As far as speed, he had 15 stolen bases, but he had so much range in the outfield that giving him a low speed number would be a bit of a travesty. As far as stealing and stolen bases, he had 75 stealing and 57 base running aggressiveness. He's only caught stealing 4 times on the year, but he only stole 19 times total. So it's not as if he stole very often, but when he did get the base more often than not. As far as fielding, he had 80 arm strength, 83 arm accuracy, and 92 reaction, 87 fielding ability. And now the reason we did this is in 97, he had 9 assists from the outfield, which is pretty good. You know, not terrible. But he did make 6 errors. So he was definitely not bad in the field, but his arm was not, you know, a laser like guys like Vlad Guerrero and so on and so forth. But that is Ken Griffey Jr. all the way around. It was really fun using Griffey in the game, and you guys will get to see that. So we're going to end this part of the video right here, and then we're going to take you into some highlights of the Rangers versus the Mariners, and Pudge Rodriguez versus Ken the Kid Griffey Jr. Now, I will say this as a preface. The game was really long. There's going to be a lot of highlights here, and I'm going to show you the first full at-bats of the two legends. So right here we have Ivan Rodriguez. Pudge was really fun to use as well. I didn't like him as much as using Griffey, even though his stats were better for what the game situation was. So Pudge is a reverse split hitter. He's facing a right-handed batter, whereas, you know, Griffey is a regular, you know, regular hitter with, you know, left-handed, lefty versus righties is better than righty, lefties versus lefties. But you see right there, Pudge Rodriguez takes his first at-bat over the right field fence at Safeco Park for a solo shot, and he did have some very, very good power, but not to be outdone. You'll see what Griffey does in just a second. But opposite field against the same-handed batter, basically Taijuan Walker puts that pitch where you really shouldn't put anything. The fact that he turned around and watched that fly over his head, like, if you put a pitch in that location, you should expect it to leave the park, But here we've got Ken Griffey Jr., 6'3", 195 pounds of Ken Griffey. 2 outs, bottom of the first, 1-0 Texas. And on the very first pitch that Ken Griffey Jr. sees, Ken Griffey Jr. says goodbye to the baseball. This was actually my favorite part of the entire game because that home run is so reminiscent of many Ken Griffey Jr. home runs. Just the whole way that the animation looked, how the game portrayed this home run, even where he hit it in the field, is very reminiscent of Ken Griffey Jr. and what I remember from my childhood with Ken Griffey. And it was quite wonderful, actually. And the coolest part to me is that he did it off a left-handed pitcher, So imagine if I got him facing a righty, how much farther that ball would have flown if I got it in the same spot. But no, it was quite well done. But here we go. We move on to the top of the second. We got a runner on second, 0-2 count, 2 outs. Nelson Cruz up. We're stealing third base. And the reason I threw this in here real quick was Pudge Rodriguez did not throw anyone out, even with his ludicrous defensive stats. Now that's Leonis Martin, who was just stealing there. But Chris Iannetta with, I believe it's going to be a single to center field. I don't think I take a turn for the double, but a single to center field scores Martin. So we got a 2-1 ball game in the bottom of the second inning. And that brings us to the third inning with Ken Griffey Jr. I just wanted to show you, struck out with Griffey. It happens, even with the best players. If the player controlling that player is not doing well, you will not do great. But as you continue, here we are in the top of the fourth. We've got Pudge Rodriguez, single up the middle, good contact hitting all around from the catcher. And that was a little bit funny, a little animation that he gave us. But there we go, get Pudge and Griffey on the same screen. Now here we are again in the top of the fifth, and Shin-Soo Choo, who I've had a lot of luck with this year, gets every piece of that ball, even though he's reaching for it. If that, I don't know how he muscled that over the left field fence, but he did. So that makes it a 2-2 ball game. And then just after, Rubny, I don't know how to say his name, Rubny Odor, the second baseman for the Texas Rangers, finds a ball that he likes from Taijuan Walker and strokes it over the right field fence for a 3-run shot, making it 5-2 Texas. Still in the fifth inning, back to Pudge Rodriguez all the way around, and he just grounds out to short. So you can't be swinging at everything. Doesn't have that kind of speed. But 5-2 Texas. And then now here we are in the top of the sixth. Next inning. Thank you. And Prince Fielder, recently retired Prince Fielder, another player that I really, really do love, takes one opposite field against the shift off Eric Scribner. And this was the beginning of the end for Eric Scribner. It was going to be a rough time for him. But Prince goes oppo against this shift for 354 feet. And the Rangers had, what is this now? We've got Pudge's home run, Odor's home run, Chu's home run, Fielder's home run, and we've got more to come. So that's now a 6-2 ball game for the Texas Rangers. And like I said, it's going to be a long, long game. Now here we are in the sixth inning still. Shin-Soo Choo, after a triple from, I believe it was Iannetta, gets a triple of his own to score the runner from third. And now we're at 7-2 ball game for the Texas Rangers. Not good for Eric Scribner, like I said. And then we've got coming up now, we got Elvis Andrus, single up the middle, scoring Shin-Soo Choo, 8-2 ball game, which is not looking good for Ken Griffey Jr. and progressing on as we're going here. There was just hits coming from everywhere on the Rangers lineup. Everything was falling, and the Mariners pitching had not much they could do about it. Now, after a Delino DeShields line out to the shortstop, you got Rubny Odor back up in the sixth inning, and what does Odor do? He decides that Eric Scribner should no longer be pitching in this baseball game with his second home run of the game, leading us in with a sixth inning that has 2 home runs, 2 triples, and a single to bring in a total of, I didn't do the math, I believe it's 6 runs. Should give us 4 runs. Yeah, 4 runs. I apologize. So that gives us a 10-2 game, and the Mariners finally get their third out after Rudy Odor decides that he needs to have a multi-homer game. Odor, not a player I like in real life, seemed pretty good in the game. Not going to complain with a 2-for-4 game with 2 home runs. But here we have Ken Griffey Jr. up in the bottom of the 6th, facing still the same left-handed pitcher, and he gets flare base hit into left field. Not going to complain about the base hit there. Defense not good, but Pudge mopping up, doing his thing. Get a look at Griffey. I do like how easy it is to make these legends look like their counterparts in real life. That was the one thing I was worried about, making the players look and seem, like their real life counterparts. But here we come up in the 7th inning, runner on first. Robbie Cano getting a single, scoring, I believe that's Gutierrez. So we've got a double, single, Cano goes to second. But very next batter, not the next batter, later in the inning, Chris Iannetta with a 2-run shot to left field, no doubt about it. Get another home run, goodbye baseball. That makes the game 10-5. The Rangers still comfortably in the lead. You wouldn't think anything would be going on at this point as far as a comeback, but the Mariners are not going down without a fight. And like I said, I apologize. This is a long game, and I'm even getting a little bit winded doing the commentary over it. But Iannetta doing a very good job getting the ball out to left field. So here we are in the top of the 8th inning. Elvis Andrews to center field, which will score another run as Griffey's throw is just a little bit up the first base line. So Shin-Soo Choo scoring. We've got an 11-run game for the Texas Rangers and an 11-5 scoreline in the top of the 8th. The Rangers manager right there should be, fairly excited with what he's got. But here we are in the bottom of the 8th. Ken Griffey Jr. to center field, base hit. Griffey was 3 for 5 in this game. Never going to complain about that. You wish it would have been more than just a home run and a couple singles. But when you're facing, left-handed hitters, a left-handed batter, you go 3 for 5. You're in a good spot. Pitching change for the Rangers right there, which would lead to the beginning of the end. As Ken Griffey Jr. would steal second base, Nelson Cruz with another home run makes this game 11-7. Now, 4-run lead, top of the 8th, or 4-run lead in the bottom of the 8th. Still thinking you got a good shot, but it would not be that way for the Texas Rangers, as Nelson Cruz hit the no doubt about it home run. It would turn against them very quickly, as they had an 11-5 lead in the top of the 8th. They would soon, as Nelson Cruz, that's a great stroke on that curveball from Keone Kayla. It would turn against them. They would get out of, or they would then load the bases in the 8th inning, and Ketel Marte would get a single to center field, which would score 2 runs. So you got runners on first and second. They would finally get that third out and end the 8th inning rally, but that leaves the game at 11-9. Now they bring in Jake Diekman, and in the 9th inning, runners on first and second, 3-2 count, 1 out. Robinson Cano, winner, chicken parmesan dinner, hits a walk-off 3-run home run. Now, I apologize, not my greatest work of commentary there. I will try and edit it as well as I can, but I did want to show you guys all the highlights because I did enjoy playing this game quite a bit. But this is episode 2, Rangers versus Mariners, and Ken Griffey Jr. has come out on top over Ivan Rodriguez. Now, that's not something I would say is unexpected, but I will say that the way in which it happened was quite shocking to me. I hope you guys are enjoying this series, and I will try and keep the next one a little bit shorter and not be at the mercy of as long of a game as I have been. So if you enjoy it, please leave a comment and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.